Yeah, obvious, we got a problem here. And it's more than just Alvin streaming Punisher. When life begins to suck, who's reporting it? Luckily, you got two friends who you won't forget. Coming live, Alvin and Fran on survival. Laughing non-stop, case drops on a cycle. Louder than intrusive thoughts off an iPhone. How they make the world seem bright with the lights off. AFs, it might as well stay up. Lies being told like that dinosaur BS. Magnifying glass to the ground if they don't see us. Having the time, roasting your favorite pizza. Bougie ain't an option, it's the wage. Take it to the grave, add moving to the place. You already know when they take the case. Laugh the pain away, it's affirmative murder.
Hello and God bless. Welcome to another episode of Affirmative Murder, the equal opportunity true crime comedy podcast. I'm Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner in true crime, Fran and Alvin.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, man, I'm the mailman. Can't you tell, man? Gonna post to.
What up?
Fran, it is a good time to be seen and see. I'm happy that you are okay. I'm glad that you can see I'm unharmed, not taken, here, alive, and in the flesh. It's a hard time to be saying that these days. People are not able to say that like everybody else. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine and well. Again, man, I always say this. I even say this when we talk about what the things we think before. I'm just happy to be here, man. We lost a friend of ours that we went to school with.
Yes, sir.
And as we get older, it seems like that's that's going to happen. That's just part of life.
It's sad because we're not old, man.
We're not.
It's not a conversation I like having because it's shocking. Like when you told me that a friend of ours, this person, super cool person, always super chill person, I think was maybe, apropos kind of what we're going to be talking about today. I think this person was my first freak dance. Like you guys, me coming out with you guys when we were like 13 years old, you finally got me to come out and we went to middle school with this person and they just threw me like a friendly dance. Like it just was like a cultural fun, didn't mean anything, just having a good time type of dance. This person was always a fun time, funny. And that caught me off guard, bro. We're in our 30s. We're not 70.
Yeah, man. She was somebody I could say that was like one of my first best friends I had in middle school, and she was like helping me get the girls, and it's like we used to talk on the phone. And
A1 wingman.
Oh, for sure.
A1
facts.
wingman. Legendary wingman, this person.
We used to talk on the phone, do three-way I mean, like, just to think about it, how we were young, and it was so much fun, and then it's like now we're all grown up, and it's like we go about our own lives, and you kind of lose touch with those certain people.
For sure.
As time go on, and it's just sad when you wake up to see some bad news like that.
And those are the people that, if you ever get an opportunity to run into, if you ever, lucky enough to stumble upon them and whatever, take that moment in. If that person, sure. If this person was because people lose touch. That's life. That's how life goes. But I remember one time we were out. I had come out with you and your lady, and we went to a bar, and right behind me was a dude I went to high school with.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't expecting to see him, but we really just took a moment for the embrace to be like, he was there with his lady and she was pregnant, and it just was like, hey man, congratulations. Like on life, not just the pregnancy, like I'm happy to see you in the world.
Yeah.
Cause we can also speak to times where I've come across people that I have good memories with from 12 and I see them at 28 and they're not doing so good.
Yeah. Right.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
So if anybody like this person that we're talking about, if this conversation is reminding you of people like this, send them a Facebook message, man. Just like a what's up. You don't got to rekindle anything, but if you got fun memories with somebody, just go ahead and check in on them if you can. Just give them a shout out, what's up, whatever, because life is crazy, man. That was not news I was expecting. I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to say any names or anything like that because I don't know,
right.
But obviously, our prayers and everything are going to this person. Obviously, we're having a conversation amongst each other while on microphone, but the prayers are going up for sure because that one was a rough one. But I think people can relate to this conversation about because like you said, life is crazy. We're not old by any means at all. We're very young people, so this was a shocking one, and I'm sure a lot of people have had moments like this in their life where it's, what do you mean this person, they're not alive anymore,
right?
So it's always a rough day. But we'd be remiss to not talk about though is a not so good time that's been taking place over the last like 7 to 10 days. This Carlee Russell story, friend. I don't know how much you've been keeping up.
Now I have to be honest with you. I don't know. I know the headline of this. I don't know the story.
What do you summarize what you know to be what happened?
Carlee
Russell, go.
Carlee Russell was this lady that saw a stroller on the side of the highway. Got
a baby, just a baby.
Okay,
just a baby.
And somebody walked up to her and like kidnapped her in the woods
off the side
of the road and disappeared. And then she ends up walking back home from her supposed kidnapper, and this all stemmed from some guy she was trying to get attention from. That's all I know.
Okay,
that is it. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's all I know.
I mean, that's accurate enough, so basically I don't care enough to go into the details because the details appear to be fraudulent. The police have not come out and outright said that Carlee Russell was lying, but it's the general consensus is the story was kind of fabricated. Okay. So I'm going to give you my headline version of events that kind of match up with yours as well.
All right.
So like 7 to 10 days ago in Alabama, I believe Birmingham, I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it. But let's just say Alabama. In the state of Alabama, a woman was driving down the side of the highway. She saw a toddler walking down the side of the road in like a pamper. She calls the police to say, hey, like there's a baby on the side of the highway. I don't know whose baby this is, but I'm following the baby because I'm concerned. That woman's car is then found with the hazard lights on, her phone's on the ground, and she's gone. So when she goes missing, people go, wait, so she had a phone call to the police about a missing baby. Is somebody using a baby to lure people out to help the baby and then they kidnap them? Okay. So now the whole country's in a panic because that's a headline-grabbing news story, right? So because, I did interviews with reporters and shit about my thoughts on Gabby Petito, friend, if you remember that whole thing about missing white women syndrome and everything like that. Now, when I heard this story, it sounded crazy to me. Not crazy like unbelievable, but just crazy in the sense that that's extreme that somebody's using a baby that's like something from Criminal Minds. Mm-hmm. So it's an extreme ploy to hear about, right? So I have my ears perked up. It's the same thing with the Jussie Smollett thing, right? When you heard that story, just something, you didn't want to come out and say you didn't believe him, but something was like, what? He was getting Subway at 4:00 in the morning and all these guys in the middle of Chicago had on MAGA hat. Like everything, it all just felt a little off.
Okay.
Right. So she's gone. Everybody's panicking. The internet is doing what we preach about on this podcast. This is a black woman. She's missing and she's getting the resources.
Yeah.
People are sharing her story, retweeting Facebook, sharing Facebook posts. People are boots on the ground. TikToks are being made. People are trying to find Carlee. And I thought that was a beautiful thing because of the things we talk about on this podcast. So I didn't want to give my thoughts. I said, hey, man, listen, I just hope she comes home. I don't know what's going on, but I hope she comes home safe, right? Then this past weekend, she comes back and all the news that we get is that the kidnappers dropped her off at her house. So then you're like, what?
Yeah.
The kidnappers took her. The kidnappers who we now have believed for days are this evil, have a kid as some kind of slave or henchman. They have a baby henchman, and then they just had a change of heart and dropped this woman back off at her house with money in her sock.
And to do that without there being like some sort of demand or ransom that's weird.
Without it being any kind of demand or ransom, you immediately think this woman's life is in imminent danger.
I mean, for kidnappers to bring her back home is what I'm.
Oh yeah, no, because basically you're just saying, oh, we just changed their mind. This shit got too out of hand. I didn't know she was going to be on TikToks and stuff like that, so you just can have her back.
Yeah. Also, I did want to ask you a question. So when we talk about, or when we come over here, not and talk about black females or whatever males, just black people just in general not getting the media attention that when we go missing or something bad happens to us. Now, do we sound not us in particular, but I mean like just in general as black people, do we sound hypocritical to be like, Well, I meant to say these events make us sound hypocritical when we go, hey, we not getting this, and then like when we do, and it's like, and it turns up to be a situation like this, and go, look, see, when we, you know what I mean?
But this was my concern, and while I'm gonna disagree with you, I also agree with you. I'm gonna disagree with you in the sense that this Carlee Russell story is an exception. Black women and black boys, black girls and black boys go missing at a high rate every day, at a higher rate than most other minority groups or people in races in general in this country.
Yeah.
Black women and boys go missing at an extremely high rate. I'm going to mention some names that people should put in their memory bank, start sharing flyers and stuff once we finish this conversation. But I also agree with you that mainstream America, I'm concerned that they hear the Carlee Russell story. They were galvanized by this story. They got the attention. They hit retweet. They hit share. They, donated money. They did all these things. And then they find out it's fake, and it turns them off whenever they see a black girl missing flyer. I think that that's wrong. But my concern is that it is going to happen.
Because
But this is not like it shouldn't be like, well, this one person went missing and now everything that we say is invalidated. Like, that shouldn't be what happens, but I'm concerned that you are right.
Yeah, because that's what's going to happen on, like you say, mainstream media. But it's like when you give ammo to that type of debate or that type of rebuttal to whatever situation that's going on.
You're saying like the argument about, you're trying to make everything about race.
Because all you need is one case to be like,
of course,
look, this happened.
I'm a person who said, listen, I hope that we find Gabby Petito. While all that was happening, I hope that we find Gabby Petito. But the fact that she disappeared in a city, in a state where indigenous women have gone missing at such a high rate, and she is now the biggest story in America, is kind of offensive. Now, if somebody could take my words that I said, show me this Carlee Russell story and go, hey man, fuck you, right? Like, this is not about race. You tried to make Gabby Petito about race, and women, we should just care about women going missing in general. And now the thing that you're talking about happening, she was lying. So all the stuff you're talking about, she got all the attention too, just like Gabby Petito did, and she was a liar. So fuck you. Shut up, Alvin. Like, that, somebody could do that to me.
Yeah.
They would be wrong, because I could show them hundreds and hundreds of missing women flyers of, that don't get the same resources of all variant types of color and creeds. I'm not saying that it's I'm not saying only black women don't get the resources. I'm saying a lot of women don't get the resources, but the disparity skews skin color. Mm-hmm. That's my only point. All kind of women don't get resources, but the disparity skews person of color, because the everyday average American person, Johnny and Susie, let's just white people. Let's just be real. I think that they are more reticent to click share on a missing white face than a missing brown face. That is, you could look up statistics that back what I'm saying. But they did that in this case because it was headline grabbing, and the baby was the accomplice and tricked her into the woods, and there was an orange-haired man that came out of the. It's sensational, but it was a lie. So I'm afraid of the damage that this will do. I really am. I think that we should continue to always hit share on missing and spread awareness. But I'm concerned that the average everyday American person who this story grabbed, when they usually see a black or brown face and they go, oh, that's sad. Anyway, what's going on with, the Nelk Boys or whatever? Andrew Tate. I don't know what people are watching on the internet, but the swipes that they usually make past a face like Carlee Russell, they didn't. They stopped and they shared it. Mm-hmm. And now we've all been had. We've been duped. And I'm concerned what that will do to people's energy towards sharing a poster or flyer of a missing black girl or black boy.
It makes everybody hesitant. That's for damn sure.
For sure. Where you go, well, we don't know. We don't know if it's true. I mean, it's the same thing. I'm sure there are people, who heard Jussie Smollett's story, believed it, condemned MAGA hats or whatever, and then heard it was a lie. And now if you hear about a racially motivated attack, they might be quick. They might hesitate and go, well, I don't know. Sometimes they're fake. I don't know if I want to get up in arms about this one because it might not have happened. And that's damaging.
Yeah.
And we'll never know, I don't think, what Carlee Russell's intentions were. I've been hearing stories about, like you said, she wanted to get the attention of a boyfriend, and this thing just got bigger than she expected it to get. I heard that she had got fired from her job or stole from her job, and life was just, she had hit hit the limit of, you know, what she could have taken in her life and she wanted to just go away. I've heard all kind of things. I don't know if we'll ever know really what her intentions were, but I don't think she expected to be a national headline news story. I
mean, like, but why create a whole story to be like, to have a baby involved and to pull over the side of the highway? I'm not, this is rhetorical, obviously. But
right, of course.
You know, why go through all that just to, I mean, I don't know what people go through, so I can't really speak on that too much, but I'm just saying, why go through that and expect it not to be, you know, a big deal?
Well, I think that speaks to the value she saw in herself. You know, I think that speaks to, like, who really is going to care? Obviously, I need to do something to make people think. I got to leave breadcrumbs so that people assume I'm just gone. I don't know why there was a baby walking down the side of the road. I don't know why she chose what she chose. They also showed her search history in the days leading up to it, of her looking up Taken, the movie Taken, the plot of it, and like how can you take money out of an ATM without being seen? A bunch of weird Google searches. Yeah. She looked up a train station that was nearby. People think she parked her car and then walked through the woods and then went to the train station. And then when she found out, when this shit got big, she came back. That's kind of the general consensus. But I don't think we'll ever fully know. Now, my concern going forward, I'd like to hear this from you, Frank, because I had conversations about people online, is that, do you feel like if you contribute to a cause, you are owed an explanation? Or do you feel like if you do something, it should be out of the kindness of your heart and you shouldn't? Like, if let's say you donated to Carlee Russel's family, right? Mm-hmm. And then you find that it's a hoax. One, this is a two-part question. A, do you like demand your money back? And B, do you feel like you deserve to know the story immediately, even if it's an ongoing investigation? I had
a similar conversation with my older brother about it was a story about you may be familiar with it. It was like Rick Ross and gunplay, that whole situation, right?
Yes. So, he got Rick Ross a chain.
Yeah,
but his daughter's sick, right?
He was sick, and his wife did a GoFundMe, and people donated to help his daughter that was sick. But yes, he had money to buy Rick Ross a chain, who was a multi-millionaire, and
yes,
it was like,
doesn't need a chain. Doesn't need a chain.
If the money that they were saying that people were saying that, you know, well, the money you used to buy the watch came from, you know, the people donated, and it was like people want an explanation, people want their money back.
Yes,
and I kind of understand that, but I think if I was to donate something to a cause to help out, and something happens unexpectedly like this, I'll go, you know, an explanation is fine. I think I'll be satisfied with that. But to be like, I want my $30 back or something, whatever. It's like, I don't have the person. I don't have the energy to do that. And it's like, if people go, if I'm willing to donate money, and if she took the money and like bought a yacht or something like that, then I'll go like, no, you gotta. This is for your lifestyle, and I'm not.
I'm not here to fund that.
I'm not with that.
Yeah.
But like, to help something like that was like somebody's health, or like, you know, her going missing, I think people that donate deserve an explanation. But it's like, if people want their money back because of financial reasons, was like, I
gave you my last
$5, I want my money back. But if it's like, you know, I did it out of the kindness of my heart, it's like, I'm not, you know, I did this. I'll just say I did it to make myself feel better, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's a tough spot, because I think the immediate instinct is to be petty. Like, you lied to me, give me my fucking money back. Not even on it was my last. I'm sure a lot of people, that's rough too, where, you know, I felt like I'm in a rough spot, but I felt like your family was in a rougher spot than me because I thought you were missing.
Exactly. You needed more than me at the time.
Yes. But my point is, we still don't really know the full story. And to me, it's like, okay, so if we find out Carlee Russel is mentally unwell, does she deserve grace in that? You know, because this, like you said, this wasn't the example you gave, a person doing a GoFundMe for a medical procedure. Yeah. And then you find out they're buying jewelry for people.
Yes.
And you're like, so in that example you gave, that's a two-part fuck you, because it's like, so either you have money and bought the watch for your friend with that money.
Yeah.
Or worse, you use the money that you group sourced to buy something for your friend.
Right.
Either way, it's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, why didn't you use the money that you have to buy watches to help your kid?
Exactly. And what I mean by
it's the pettiness of it. That sounds like mean when I say it that way, but like that's how I would feel if I donated. Like,
right. And when I say explanation, I mean, for me, I go like, well, if the money's not being used for the reason I donated for the cause, then where is it going? I need to know where is it being transferred to a different cause where it's like missing people or kids or something like that. I'll go find.
Are you donating the money you've collected to a cause where somebody really is missing, or is it just, or are you just expecting us to go, all right, well, I guess she's not missing now. Let's move on, because I don't think that's gonna happen.
No.
Also, people are absolutely destroying Carlee Russel online, and I am concerned for her mental health. But she made the bed. For sure. But it's not. I mean, people are going in. Now she's become the joke of the moment. It's the Jussie Smollett thing all over again. Yeah. And this is a woman who, faked this or misled people, and for the reasons that we're starting to hear is that life isn't the best for her, and now she's a villain, and now she's a joke, and people are making fun of her, and now she can't even exist on social. This is, again, we talk about this, cyberbullying and stuff, and people say just turn your phone off, but these people today, it's part of their breath. Like, you can't. It's not so easy to say, well, just don't get on Twitter, just don't get on Instagram. Especially when people are talking about you.
Yeah, I can't get behind. It's hard for me to be like, well, this person was going to a rough time too. It's like, okay, I get it, but it's like there are millions and millions of people that's going through rough times that
don't do this.
That don't do this.
Yeah,
so like,
and this is wild. I mean, this is
I get it, but it's like I can't buy it. I just saw I can't buy that. I just can't.
Yeah, really objectively going into it. I don't know how much of the story is from her, like, machination, like her creating it, or us filling in the blanks. But either way, what it became is so crazy of a story that it's kind of unforgivable.
Yeah.
Like people were really scared, Fran. I know you weren't really keeping up, but people really were scared. Like, I mean, if I see a kid in trouble, should I not pull over? Like, this was a week in America. People were genuinely questioning if they should help kids. If there was some kind of crazy serial killer out there who's using a kid as a lure. This was, and then, like I said, Carlee Russel just comes back home, and people are now going, is she cooperating? This is when the last shred of empathy I had was the day she came home. I went, well, I know we want to know what happened, but there's an investigation going on. The police might not want to release information to the public that could tip off this person. So we're not going to get the answers, but people were so upset that they were like, what do you mean she's not talking to anybody right now? Like, we need to know, is there a person out there with a kid?
Exactly. What happened?
Where is he? We need to get him off the streets if this is the thing. And that's where the entitlement of, I'm a person who cared, who shared, who donated, and I want my answers, because you are back. And I think that's great, but like, why are you back? How are you back? Did you catch the person? Did you kill the person? Is he left? Did you kill him in a house and you escaped? Like, what are the answers? And we never got those answers.
Yeah.
And what we got instead was a police conference where they basically said, hey man, this smells fishy.
Yeah. I mean,
we're not saying she lied, but this smells very fishy.
Yeah, you can't a whole story, a national story, you go missing, then you just like walk home with like a big gulp and like a hot dog. It's like, what is like what?
Yeah, you come back home, or your parents that go to your room to cry about you, and you're in the bed.
Yeah, sleep.
You're like, hey guys, what I miss? Like, bitch, you've been on the news for like you've been a 24-hour news cycle for. Like, what do you mean? Like, I just crawled in through the window. I didn't want to wake you guys up in the middle of the night, so I'm back.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm okay. Everything's fine. False alarm. Like, you can't false alarm this. You might come home late. You come home, and you walk in the door. Your parents are like, I was worried sick. I almost called the police. Like, this is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
The like National Guard knows who you are.
Yeah.
This got really big.
Why do you call the police? Why? Like, start gaslighting us? Why did you like what? We're missing.
My car ran out of gas. I left it on the side of the road, and my phone was buzzing too much, so I just dropped it on the floor.
I took a lap in the woods. I saw, a path, a trail, and I just wanted to
I went for a nice walk. Why did the police release my audio of me saying there was a kid walking down the street? That was between me and the dispatcher. I didn't expect that to be on CNN.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gaslight McGee for sure. It's yeah, man, this was a wild one, and I'm interested to hear people's thoughts. I've had conversations with people over the last couple of days, but I'm interested to hear people's thoughts on the implications of what this could do to the future of missing black and brown kids, man. Like, I mean, you know, or missing black and brown women, adults. I mean, this is a grown woman. So I'm concerned about that. I know it shouldn't be the case. I know we should always assume if somebody's being reported missing that they are missing, but I just don't think everybody's going to do that. I think there's going to be some hesitation.
The thing about this story and the Jussie Smollett story was I think these might be the few two times where I went like, when you see the speculation going around and like the Gabby Petito story was just like, there was history of her boyfriend being, you know, abusive. That's different than like everybody speculating like, well, she's talking about a baby. Everybody picking apart what was happening, and I went like, I see those stories and I go, that's too much. I don't want to emotionally. I don't want to be attached to this in a way. So I go like, that's why I didn't
wait
keep
to see
up.
how it unfolds.
Yeah, I just go like, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Yeah, man, because like you gotta think about it. If you're a person who fully invested their self into this and following it minute by minute, getting involved, the worst case scenario is we find out that this woman, who out of the kindness of her heart pulled over her car to help a child, which I think we all would do, right?
Right.
You see a kid walking down the side of the road, and then you find out that this woman was snatched, killed, attacked in some kind of way, and then left for dead in the woods. And now there's some killer out there with a kid still possibly who's using the kid to hurt people. That's a lot to take on emotionally.
Yeah.
Now think about taking that on emotionally, believing that is true, and then you find out she lied to you.
Right. Also, I would be skeptical from the beginning when she said that there was a baby on. You telling me nobody else pulled over for a baby that's on the side of the road walking?
Yeah, and there were no other calls. I'm not sure I'm not sure if that was not released until the press conference that the police gave, but there were no other calls. Nobody else reported seeing a baby. So then you start to go, like, if you're still giving the benefit of the doubt, you go, well, maybe the killer or the kidnapper pulled up and just like released the baby out of a crate right when they saw her specifically.
Yeah.
And so only she saw the baby. Then when they caught her, they wrangled the baby back up, put it back in the crate, and then drove off.
That's why I thought it was a stroller. That's why I thought she saw a stroller. That makes a little bit more sense, because it's like
a baby just left in the stroller.
Or people could just think like somebody just threw out a stroller. Like it's nothing.
It's not even anything in it.
There's nothing in it. But one person decided to pull over and look
in the stroller, and then they got caught.
That seems more believable to me than a baby walking.
No, she said there was a baby like a toddler walking down the side of the highway. That would have been so many phone calls would have came in.
Highway?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
so many phone calls would have came in about that. So, Carlee Russel, I'm concerned about what this will do. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I want to be wrong. I don't want there to be this drop in concern for missing black women. But what I'm going to take a minute to do is just to say some names from an article that, are young girls and women who are missing as of today, which is, what's today's date, Fran?
22nd.
The 22nd of July. Mm-hmm. We got Janiah Duffy, who was 15 years old. JANIYADUFFIE. Amani Roberson, she's 30 years old. She was last seen in a Mazda SUV. The alert for her being missing went out on July 20th. We got Kiawante Joe Sawyer. Her age is unknown. KIAWANTE Joe JO Sawyer SAWYER. She is also currently missing. We got Amaya AMYAH Smith. She's 16 years old. She went missing on May 22nd in Snellville, Georgia. She's described as 5'7" and 135 pounds. We got Precious Branson, 17 years old. She went missing in January of this year. She's 5'4", 135 pounds. We got Sierra, CIERRA Chapman. She's between 30 and 31 years old. She was last seen on December 27th, 2022, from Trotwood, Ohio. And then lastly, we got Danielle Lewis, who's 15 years old. She's from Minneapolis, Minnesota. She was last seen on April 22nd of this year at her home in Minnesota. These are people who are actually missing. young black girls and women who need those resources, need their names to be said, and hopefully, they can be brought home. I don't want Carlee Russell's false story or whatever we want to call it. I guess it's not official yet, but the story that now people don't believe to affect the names of the people I just said. I don't want the resources to not get to them. I don't want their names to be now whispered and skepticism, any of that kind of stuff. I'm an advocate for these resources being dispersed, and the energy and the excitement or the urgency for, people missing to be high when no matter what the face looks like. So yeah, man. Wild story. Yeah. Wildest story I've heard in a while for sure. A baby walking down the side of the highway. Craziness. But yeah, shame on you, Carlee Russell. I will say that. Shame on you. I will be honest about that. It is disappointing. I think black people collectively were like, come on. God damn. She lied.
Yeah. Well, here we go again. Like Jussie Smollett. Here we go again.
That sucks, but hopefully we can look at this as an isolated incident like we should and move on from it. Obviously jokes are funny. I've seen some things I've laughed at. It's been funny, but I feel like jokes are the easiest way to cement something. I had this thought. I don't think I talked to you about it, but I was watching this show on FX called Black White, and there was this like a white couple. It's a white family and a black family, and the white family dresses in blackface, and the black family dresses in whiteface, and they live a day in the world as the other race to try to learn. It's just like a social experiment. Yeah. And one thing I found was interesting, and if we've had this conversation before, stop me. But white people are incredibly, for the most part, unaware of stereotypes, right? Of themselves. Yeah. Right? Like it's more so, other minorities speaking about the things we notice about white people to ourselves, but they don't have to exist in a world where those stereotypes can affect their day-to-day life. Right. Right? So while white people, they know of stereotypes, but those stereotypes, as much of a joke as it is, they still believe them to be the reality of the world. So they might make a joke about like, oh man, I was walking down the street and I saw a black dude, and so I moved my purse. I'm just joking around.
You mean of other races?
I'm saying white people.
No, white people know the stereotypes of other races.
Yes.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Very well.
Yeah. Oh,
but
of course.
but their interactions with those races might be few and far between. So all they know about that race is a stereotype. So even in there trying to relate to them, it's still like, so I made you guys chicken and melon, and I knew you guys were coming over for a cookout, so I wanted you guys to feel welcome. I'm being nice. This is me being nice to you, but I only know you through racist stereotypes that have been programmed in my mind by the media that I consume. Yeah. But when you tell a white person like, oh man, like, sometimes when it's raining outside, y'all be smelling like wet dogs. It's like, oh my God, is that what you really think? Yeah. And it's them. Yeah. It's like, I don't smell like everything's personal. Yeah. It's an attack. Where me, I just go, if somebody comes to me and go, I mean, hey man, it's some music on. I know you probably can dance, right? Because black people can dance. I don't go, oh man, I can't dance. I got 2 left feet. Why are you just assuming I can dance? I go, that's the stereotype. I know the stereotype. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Let's all laugh and just move on from it. Yeah. But I've noticed a lot that because white people are not affected by stereotypes, like it doesn't affect them societally. Right. If people think I'm a bank robber because of a stereotype, that still affects how my life goes when I walk into a bank. Yeah. But white people is like, if people think you can't season your food and you don't even know that that's the thing, what does it even do? You know what I mean? Like, what is it? It's like if a tree falls in the woods and nobody's around to hear it, did it fall? Yeah. So we're going like, I don't know, man. I know you're dating a white girl. Did you go over to her house and was the food? That's me and you talking. Yeah. Right? But white people as a society going, well, I've always heard Mexican people are lazy. That affects how they see. They hire a Mexican person if they're to do something for them, and they might watch them a little more closely because they go, well, sometimes you got to stay on top of them because I hear they're lazy. Also, like it affects how they treat people. Yes. Yeah. Also, if you don't live up to that stereotype, there's a negative impact. So say if I were to go out and play basketball and I was trash, but if somebody picked me first, and I'm around a whole bunch of white people and they go like,
He's black. Obviously, he knows how to play basketball. And I go like,
picking him first.
Yeah, I can't shoot a jump shot for nothing because and they go like,
oh, come on. You're not even really black. I thought you were black.
That's like, then what are you? I don't get.
What is even the point of you? Yeah. What is your use? What is your use?
If I can't jump high and dribble a basketball as a black man, I have no use.
I like one of my favorite TikTok things is like, you don't look this, you don't look that, you don't look, I've seen it, you don't look like a lesbian, you don't look like this, and then they start doing the most crazy, waving a dildo around, like pulling their strap on out, like, you don't look black, and then they cut to dudes like they have a headband on and a basketball, and they're, in the other hand, they got a drumstick, and it's like, do I look black now? Like, that's, there's this like preconceived notion of what X, Y, and Z is, and it affects them societally, like Asian people, black people, Mexican people. I don't think that those kind of stereotypes affect white people.
No.
They're all like, they're not even really, there's no real implications to the white stereotypes. Like, they're just like, whatever. Like, they don't, if you, bro, if you think that I am a violent person, like, that's a stereotype. Like, oh man, black dudes are angry and strong and what. It causes you to fear me.
Right. If I go to a white person's house and their food is not seasoned, I go, well, I'm not shocked. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like, I'll move on. It doesn't, and guess what? They're gonna eat the shit out of that green bean casserole, and they're gonna be like, what's this guy's deal? I guess he doesn't like ambrosia salad. Oh well, more for me. Like, it doesn't affect their life. It doesn't change anything about their life. So I just think that's something to think about when we have these conversations about one person affecting the whole group.
Yeah, man.
I don't want Carlee Russel to affect the whole group, but my fear is that she will. And it makes me sad because nobody else has to live by those. I mean, other people do, but the people that I'm concerned about making Carlee Russel the rule and not the exception, it doesn't happen for them.
At least for the foreseeable future. It's going to
be...
The
near future, the next time somebody goes missing in the next couple weeks or months, it's going to be like, is this a hoax?
Yeah.
But when Sherry Papini went missing, and it turned out she just wanted to leave her husband and date her boyfriend, and then it was all fake. It didn't affect like missing white women. Nobody went, is this white woman lying?
No, I don't even know who that is, so that's new to me.
Exactly, because it just came and went. It was a headline story. People were like, wait, what? She lied? And then we moved on. Because why? Because Sherry Papini gets to be Sherry Papini.
Nope.
I don't think Carlee Russel gets to just be Carlee Russel. Carlee Russel is a black woman. This black woman lied. So do black women lie? Like, that's the effect that it has. Jussie Smollett lied. So do black men lie about being racially attacked? He doesn't just get to be he doesn't just get to be Jussie Smollett. No. We have to answer to Jussie Smollett.
Yeah. These two incidents will always be attached to their name forever.
Yes. But it'll be attached to our name.
For sure. Yeah.
All of our name collectively as black people. Those two incidences will be connected to us and our pain and our trauma and our police reports and our phone calls. It will always be this question of, was it real? Was it fake? Are they lying? Is it true? And I don't like that. But I think we've ran this conversation as far as we can. I would like to take a quick break because I have a story I'm excited to get into. This is a pretty interesting story, and I'm excited for us to get into it. So let's take a quick break, recollect ourselves, take a group woosah, and when we come back, we're gonna get into some fucked up shit. So stick around. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by Rosetta Stone. Do you have plans to travel abroad soon? Maybe you met a broad or a fellow on one of these dating apps. Or maybe you're just trying to decipher the latest fire Bad Bunny lyrics. Whatever the case may be, if you're looking to learn a new language, then Rosetta Stone is for you. Rosetta Stone is the most trusted language learning program around. It's available on desktop for a more stationary user, or it can be used as an app on a phone or a tablet if you're more on the go. Rosetta Stone teaches you through immersion. Instead of memorizing and drilling vocabulary words, you learn by matching audios from native speakers to visualize reading stories, participating in dialogues, and other practical language skills to fast-track your ability to communicate fluently. Rosetta Stone offers over 20 languages, from Spanish to French, Italian and German, to Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, and even Dutch, Arabic, and Polish. And right now, they're offering lifetime memberships. If you buy into the program right now, you get forever access to all lessons for all languages and literally never pay a renewal fee. Rosetta Stone has been in the game making people bilingual for over 30 years, and it's been around that long because it works. They know what really works when it comes to getting you started with a language, helping you remember what you've learned, and motivating you to stay on track. I went to Europe last year and I didn't use Rosetta Stone to try to learn French. Went there, offended a pastry chef, and he threw a baguette at my head. So the next time I take a trip, I won't be making that mistake again. I will be learning the language through Rosetta Stone. So don't put off learning that language any longer. There's no better time than right now to get started. Just open up your internet doohickey, go to Rosetta Stone, sign up today. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by HelloFresh. Take a bite out of summer with HelloFresh. From chef-crafted seasonal ingredients to their new fresh and fit summer menu, HelloFresh brings flavor right to your door. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your front doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. And HelloFresh gets that you want options when it comes to making food for dinner, not just the same old thing. That's why they offer up to 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so you'll never get bored and can always find something new to try and love. And obviously in the summer months, you're doing a lot of trips and traveling, so when you get home, it's nice to have a box of HelloFresh waiting for you, and you got dinner ready in less than 30 minutes. It's a really good option for me when I don't feel like going to the grocery store, and it's always fun to cook. With some music on, just lose track of time. Just go to HelloFresh.com/50hysteria and use the code 50hysteria for 50% off plus free shipping. That's the number 50, 50, HYSTERIA. Use that code and get 50% off your order plus free shipping. Once again, that's HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by Drizzly. Gifting is hard. This isn't breaking news. But what might be breaking news is that you can now send beer, wine, and spirits right to your friends and family with Drizzly, the go-to app for alcohol delivery. Which is fantastic news because adult beverages are the only gifts that no one ever returns. And Drizzly's tailored experience lets you find the perfect drink for the occasion, no matter what it is. You'll save time by shopping a huge selection of drinks from wherever you are. You'll save money by comparing prices on said drinks from across a bunch of stores. And you'll get to spend more time sipping on those bevies with your giftees. You know, if they're the sharing type. Not like Fran. Download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com and get your favorite drinks delivered today. Ding dong, it's Drizzly. Oh, that was terrible. Must be 21 and over, not available in all locations. Back to the pod. All right, and we are back. Fran.
Yeah.
I want to take a little moment after I introduce what we're going to be talking about to kind of ask you, what are your memories of this event? What is the imagery that comes to mind? All that. Just kind of want to paint the scene and paint the picture for people. So this week, Fran and I are going to be talking about the history of Freaknik. As some people might know, if you are a social media person, there was an announcement that Hulu is supposed to be releasing a documentary with footage from Freaknik soon or at some point. And the joke was, oh man, a lot of people's aunties are going to be upset when the footage of this comes out because they didn't think this would ever see the light of day. Yeah. And
there is some pushback.
There was some pushback. Yeah. People were like, people don't need to see this. Because it was a crazy time. Now, Fran, first of all, before we went into this and before even that day, I don't know what day, it was like a couple of days on Twitter, but like before that time on Twitter, like a couple months ago, had you heard of Freaknik before?
I've never heard of Freaknik before it started hitting the social webs. Never, ever. Never, nothing. I didn't have any, my brothers didn't go to college.
Right. And your brothers even are kind of like young.
They was a little older than that. Could have. I don't know. But anyway, I didn't know anything about it,
Sure.
So, but I do remember some of like the music.
Yes.
And, how certain music came about and these certain artists that was out at the time. But I didn't know that it kind of stemmed from, this huge event that went on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's get into it. Shall we?
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, we're gonna just go through the kind of the inception, the growth, like the entire, Freaknik, its origin story. So it started out as a picnic in the spring of 1983. It was organized by students who were attending the AUC. Now, for people who don't know what the AUC is, the AUC is a consortium of 4 Atlanta-based HBCUs, including Clark Atlanta University, Morehouse College, Morehouse School of Medicine, and Spelman College. They all kind of form this shea butter, Voltron, where they all have come together and formed the ultimate machine, like the most pro-black, black excellence, black academia, bourgeoisie, young future leaders of America, coalition of young people. And it's this beautiful thing, these HBCUs coming together this way and being one individual school, but allowing all the schools to have this network to be able to connect with each other.
Yeah.
There's something I think it's something so cool about that. And so the AUC was actually home to these state clubs, which were these organized groups for students who weren't from Georgia to link up, socialize, and organize ride shares back home during break. So if you were from, California, or if you were from Michigan, all the Michigan kids would go to the Michigan Social Club and then, be able to meet other people who are from their same area. Yeah. And then when it's time to go home, to save money, we can all take my car. I got a car. Right. You can ride with me.
Yeah. And
again, such a cool thing. Now, this particular spring break in 1983, members of the DC Metro Club, the students who didn't have resources to buy flights back home or go on a short vacation, organized a picnic at Piedmont Park for students who found themselves stuck on campus over spring break. So one thing I did not expect in my research was for the DMV to play such a major role in Freaknik. That really caught me by surprise. For people who have been listening to us for a while, they know we're not from Maryland, we're from Baltimore.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different thing. If you're from here, you get it. If you're not, you don't. Yeah. But DC and Baltimore kind of have this brothers sister kind of sibling rivalry type of thing. I'll always go. I love DC. I have a good time. Sure. But I would never tell anybody from DC to their face that I like go-go music. But I will admit here, before we get into the particulars of it and keep going forward, as I've gotten older, a live band and some lyrics to a song I'm familiar with hit a lot harder than Baltimore club music at my age. You know what I mean? It's Baltimore club music is still nostalgic, but it's too much.
I'm not 15. I think it's for the younger crowd.
I'm not 15 anymore. I would much rather hear go shawty, it's your over some It just it's conducive to a drink being in my hand, a nice two-step.
Exactly.
Yep, and I'm just having a good time. I can't do all the crazy legs and the dropping back.
I could never do that anyway.
It just was never for me. But I liked being, and I like repping where I'm from.
For sure.
So I would always go, Baltimore club mix over go-go music to a DCite.
Yeah.
A DCian, or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
I would always ride for Baltimore club music, but as I've gotten older, I will admit here on this microphone at 31 years old, go-go music is a lot more grown and sexy than Baltimore club music.
Man. I agree.
So the DC Metro Club is actually the club that founded Freaknik. Now, it didn't start as Freaknik, obviously. What it was this group, tried to put something together because everybody has an idea of what spring break is at this point. Like, you go to the beach or you go back home to see your family. Right. And some kids are like, I'm a college kid. I don't have money to go do that. Like, I'm stuck here. Like, I don't have money. I don't even have a car. So it's like, okay, well, if you are in that boat, we got permission from the city to get some speakers up and put them in a park. And we put together a simple gathering. We got some coolers. We got some burnt hot dogs. We got some boom boxes. It's a real family reunion vibe. When I was reading up on this and researching this, the original first Freaknik really gave me backyard summertime cookout vibe. Like, I could feel it. Yeah. A cooler full of Huggy Juices, but next to the Huggy Juices is like some wine coolers for the adults.
Yeah.
But they got the tin foil Huggy Juices, the barrel juices in there too.
Yeah.
There's music playing. There's cousins coming. Like, I could see people playing dominoes, people playing I could feel this experience, and I thought that was so dope because as I'll get into it, I think that the greater society, and by great I just mean like the overwhelming society of America, the dominant society of like white people in general who kind of paint the picture of what a thing is. I think when you think of spring break, you think beach, you think MTV spring break, right. You think bikinis and stuff. And for me, when I think spring break or summertime, I think of like a chain link fence and a pit barbecue and family members and spray painted t-shirts and a cooler full of juices and some music playing. Like, I don't think of the beach. That's not where my brain goes when I think of like spending time or some kind of event that's a picnic or a beach, or I don't think of that. I think of like a park and some speakers and some grills, and that's what I think of. Like, so I could really feel this intention, and that might also be because the people that started it they're our neighbors.
Right. And I think that with the feeling of, now, I do want to say that I am upset. You know,
okay.
I told my dad this. I said, we had a conversation about something a while ago. And I went, man, hey man, like, I'm kind of upset that I didn't get to enjoy the 90s like I wish I could have. Being of age and kind of remembering the night. Like we obviously I remember the night, but just like
kids, we were kids.
And I think the 90s, for me, I think that might have been like, some people may say the 80s or whatever. I think 90s might have been the decade, man. I think my 90s might have been the best decade.
Well, what I think the 90s lingers in our DNA more than the 80s. And not just because we were born in the 90s. I just mean the music, the artists are still around. Yeah. Like the fashion, the moguls that came out of the 90s still exist today. So like the DNA of the 90s still exists today. And all I remember is being too young to go outside.
Exactly. Yeah,
when these cookouts we're talking about, I'm grabbing the Huggy Juice. My cousins are going out in the backyard, and then somebody's stopping me from going out the screen door too.
Right.
I wasn't old enough to go do the fun stuff that people remember from the 90s.
Right.
I was there. I remember people being excited about Michael Jordan, but like in 1996, like really, I didn't really care.
Exactly. But I mean, like,
you know, like
as far as feeling like the barbecue and the you know, you outside with family and friends. This is before social media and Facebook, all of that. So it's just like
just a vibe.
You know, we talk, we sing, we being around family and appreciating, appreciating everybody's love, and then taking that all in, because like, because once we leave this, you know, you may get a phone call or something, but like, there's no, we hang out right now, and then it's like, hey man, I'll just send you a message, or I'll send you a TikTok.
No, it's just, I might not see you till the next time we do this.
Exactly, man. And I think,
and all that under the banner of 90s culture.
Exactly.
Tupac and Mark Morrison, Return of the Max on the radio, John B. Like, it's just beepers and gold chain. It just was like, because like I'm sure people had cookouts in the 80s too.
Right.
But it's just something about the overalls.
The music was changed. The music was different. There's a huge jump from the 80s music to 90s music.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was just, like you said, it was a different vibe. It was hip hop. It was just it was just different, man. It's just different.
Yeah. No, I'm mad at Roger too.
Yeah.
I'm mad at my mom. I'm trying to get, hey man, can I get an earring? Can I get some cornrows? No, you can't.
You
cannot.
Get this one haircut.
You're gonna get this bald fade and go get one of those Huggy Juices out of that cooler and go sit down in one of those chairs and be quiet. I'm over here playing dominoes. My mom was in the midst of it.
Yeah, man.
My mom was having a good old time. I'm like, can I hold your beeper? No, and go sit down over there and be quiet. That's our experience of the 90s. Right. But we knew that there was dope shit happening. Sure. That's the envy. Like, we feel like we missed out on something, but we were right there.
Yeah, man. Just too early.
We just weren't allowed in the room. Yep. And you know, it is what it is. But like we've already alluded to, for people who can't tell by the name, the DC Metro Club was made up from students that were going to Spelman and Morehouse who were from the DMV area. That's the DC DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And that's the club was, you know, for those people to be able to congregate and get rides home or whatever, but they would also do social events. And this was one that they organized, the very first Freaknik picnic, which means that the soundtrack of Freaknik originated and always was influenced by go-go music. Yep. You know, so it always was live bands and drums and just a fun time. So I can imagine, like, the first Freaknik was probably such a fun time. Like, you don't have money to get home to your parents or go to the beach, and somebody was organizing this event at the park, and you get there and there's fun music playing and food and black people, and you don't have to put on airs. You can just be your young black self and talk about the latest music or, you know, whatever the thing is. Like, everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the first Freaknik was very innocent and small and fun.
Yeah, small, fun, and it's just like peaceful.
A bunch of students.
And everybody know who each other is, where it's just like,
seeing you around.
Exactly. Just a cool vibe. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very much like a college party. Yep. And the name Freaknik was actually I found this funny and interesting about like how much thought we put into it with hindsight, where we go, well, they were freaking, so that's why they called it Freaknik. But the name Freaknik was actually birthed by the phrase of the time, which was freak. Mm-hmm. So there was the hit song Super Freak by Rick James, and then there was the classic song Le Freak by Chic. Freak out. Been a minute. That song. So and then of course there was the dance of the 80s and now and the 90s and now and whatever, freak dancing. Yeah. Right? So this was really just
in the 80s.
You know, the bump, a little grinding but nothing
bump.
too crazy. The bump, you do it, you know, a little bump hitting each other's hips and stuff. Right? But so freak was really, if it was now, it would be the rip me out the plastic picnic, the
don't do not get me started on that bullshit.
No, but I'm saying it just was birthed from a popular phrase of the time. Like there is nothing more than that. Yeah. You know, what's that sexy rap? My booty pink. That
Pound Town.
Pound Town. It would have been the Pound Town picnic. Like if it was 2023, we'd be talking about the Pound Town picnic. It just was birthed from the slang of the time. Because remember,
which is catchy. That is kind of catchy.
The Pound Town picnic. Yeah. Oh, but the first annual Pound Town picnic is like
end.
what it's like one and done. Because that's like what Freaknik turned into, like the year 11. Right. The first year of the Pound Town picnic is like year 11 of Freaknik. It's like debauchery. Like, no, stuff's
happen.
on fire. Like, no, this is crazy. The Pound Town picnic, the inaugural Pound Town picnic, grand opening, grand closing.
It will be a memory you will never
it will be one for the ages. Oh man, it will be one for the ages. Oh, and then his phones. No, it would be crazy. It would be absolutely insane. The Pound Town picnic could never happen. Never. We could never allow this to happen. We cannot sanction this, and we're not birthing it right here on this podcast.
I don't know, man.
So did we just birth it? Are we going to organize the Pound Town picnic?
We might, man.
No, we might have to put a pin in this. No, this is crazy. We might have to spark the Pound Town picnic. But but I just thought that was interesting because you got to keep in mind, like, these are young, black, hip kids. Yeah. Like, these are the people with their finger on the pulse. So when you think about it, in the 80s, what's the most popular phrase of the time is freak. All these songs with freak in it. These young kids know about these songs. It's going to be about the things they hear every day. Yeah. And so if you take that logic and you put it in any time, whatever the phrase of the time is what would have been this name. But because we know what it turned into, we think about the imagery that comes along with it, and we think like, oh, these people were just being nasty and freaky and, you know, wanted to be grinding on each other. But like, it really was just the phrase of the time. Yeah. But it just happened to coincide so beautifully with what this thing turned into. Yeah. It's like what this thing turned into, there wasn't a better name for it. The Piedmont Park Picnic plus freak birthed Freaknik, a suggestion by DC Metro Club member Rico Brown, a.k.a. Freako. I made that up also, by the way. That's not a nickname that he had.
I don't remember.
Yeah, like that's perfect. I didn't see that in my notes.
I don't remember.
I didn't come across. I didn't see that one.
I'm like, am I tripping? Because I don't remember.
No, I got some firsthand information. I called him up. I called up Rico Brown.
You got some intel. I can't.
Listen. We're gonna get into the dark turn of this, but like, there is something in me that's excited to see people like our mom and dad's age sit down in front of a camera, and then the little Chiron comes up and it's like Rico Brown. He's like, yeah, man. So we just wanted to freak dance all night long, and so we thought of the ultimate party. But they're like an old man now, not old, but like a middle-aged dude.
What's that like? Well,
like okay, so 1983 was like 42 years ago.
Okay.
So if you were 18 in 1983, you're like 60.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, that's not middle age. Yeah. You're an older person. Yeah. You're not an old person. I don't want to I don't want to offend anybody. No. But seeing like a silver goateed, bald-headed Morehouse man be like, yeah, I was at the first Freaknik. Yeah. And they cut to some footage. They show a picture of him with like a gold chain on and a wife beater, just a young. Yeah. I just think I just love black people, man. So it's like something about it to see the nostalgia of seeing like dudes that we hold in regard or look like distinguished gentlemen, because Morehouse dudes are respected. Right. You know, men that Martin Luther King went to Morehouse. Dudes that you really respect went to these colleges, and to see them be like young, older professionals, judges and lawyers and doctors, and then they cut back to them and they're like, I had 2 beers in my hand and I was on spring break.
You know what's funny? Because like, you saying that, and then whenever I used to do something, when I used to be in my teenage years and I used to do something bad, school, whatever, I remember my dad used to always say this. And, like, I didn't pay it any mind until I got older. He used to go, you know I used to be your age, right? I used to be your age. Whatever you're doing or thinking, I used to do the same exact thing. And at the time, I go like, whatever.
You don't know.
Old.
You could never make moves like this.
You don't know. You don't know what I'm doing out here in the streets. But he was like, I used to be your age, man. Like, I used to do the same shit that you do now.
Yeah.
So, like, anything you're trying to get by me, it's just not going to work. Because I know.
I already know. I already did it.
I already did it. That's funny.
The phones are just a little newer. But I was making the same phone calls.
Yeah. That's funny, man.
Yeah, man. Things change, but they stay the same. Now, what I will say in my defense is when my mom says it to me, I'm like, you have no idea what I'm doing, do you? My mom sees me like drink a fifth of fucking of gin, and she's like,
slam the glass on the table.
Yeah, she's like, you don't drink. I'm like, all right, mom. Anyway, drinking is the anyway. Oh, a lot of fun times. Anyway, so throughout the 80s, the lore of the spring shindig grew even louder as the years moved on. Freaknik eventually moved the dates that it would be held from spring break to just before the finals.
Yeah.
Like the final exams. Right. Now, and my assumption is that they did this because kids who go to Morehouse and Spelman and Clark were probably like, well, kids who could afford to go away wanted to go. Yeah. So it's like, well, stop doing it on spring break because I want to be able to go. Yeah. So they held it when everybody was there as opposed to at a time when people are leaving. Right. So I think and also it's like getting a little closer to finals. You want to blow off a little steam before you got to take these serious tests or before you graduate. Like, I think it just felt like more of a letting off steam event where they placed it. Yeah. So now Freaknik would take place right before final exams. And as the talk of Freaknik spread, it drew crowds of students from far beyond the AUC and a fair share of non-students as well. And keep in mind, Fran, like we talked about, this is all grapevine. Yeah. This is that's what I think this is so amazing. This is all just like, yo, did you hear about what's going on in Atlanta? Yep. It's around April, this date. Man, we got to go. Yeah. Like that hit thousands of people. And that's how it turned into this national phenomenon where it's just like people, like you say, word of mouth, phone, and then like people are going like, oh, we need to go. Yeah. This is my friend said he saw X, Y, and Z. I gotta go. Like it was all that. Yeah. It was all that, which is like so unfathomable to me now. Yeah. Like everything now requires such promotion and flyers and virality and to really blow up. You're not just gonna get that from word of mouth. It just isn't how the world works today. Yeah. But also word of mouth, it leaves a little to be desired because you go, what? You can't see it. And there's no Instagram. There's no Freaknik Instagram. So everything is like, what is it? I got to see it. Exactly. I got to get my eyes on it. Because really, realistically today, which I'll get into, I don't even want to give the example, but there's festivals that I'm going to talk about that you can go on when the festivals are happening. You can go on live streams. You can go on the Instagram for the account of the festivals that exist today and look at pictures and videos, and it will feed that need to want to be there. The FOMO can be served enough to you go, well, I had $800, but I didn't want to spend it on a ticket to this festival. And so I watched a couple of performances on my phone, and like, I'm good. It looked fun, but like, I'm fine. And you can also make your decision if you want to go or not in that moment. Yes, exactly. So it's a lot more pre-planning today. Flyers letting you know who's going to be there, letting you know what events are going to happen. Like at this point in time, you don't know what could happen. No. So if you're all the way in California, you're like, the possibilities are whatever your imagination can cook up. Yep. So it's like I gotta go. Yep. I only got $400. I'm gonna wash some cars. I'm gonna get to that $800 so I can get the ticket to get to Atlanta. Exactly. I just gotta get there. Get there. That's what people's only goal, which I'll get into about what made Freaknik both so amazing, but also what eventually made it so terrible is that it existed without borders. So we'll get into that. So we'll put a pin in that and we're gonna keep talking. So like I said, so now it's starting to grow. There's people coming from all across the country, starting to trickle in, and now we're starting to get the element of non-students. Like now it's not just the college students letting off steam. Now you're just getting kids that's like, oh, I dropped out of school. I just heard it was fun as shit down here.
Right.
I'm just here to party. I'm here to freak.
I'm here to freak. Let me give him a freak on.
Where the freaks at? Like, you're like, oh, what school do you go to? None. Yeah, I don't go to any school. I'm 32.
Why are you here?
For the freaks. Hey man, one thing about me is I'm where the freaks at. You know what I'm saying? like that's it started the trickling ends of that. The early stages of that started to happen. So for several years, the party hopscotched from park to park on the west side of Atlanta. Spike Lee's 1988 film School Days referenced the festival, and on a November 30th, 1989 episode of A Different World, the characters Whitley and Freddie were desperate to make their way down to Atlanta to join in on the fun of the now famous picnic. So now you're talking about black culture is at a fever pitch. Yep. It's in a Spike Lee film, and I mean, from what I hear, obviously I grew up watching reruns of it, but I think A Different World came out as a hit. It was this show that never been seen before. It was young black kids wearing HBCU sweatshirts, and it was hip and it was cool, and you got Dwayne Wayne wearing flip-up sunglasses. It was a very cultural show, and they're talking about it on A Different World.
Were they in college?
So this is
college too, right?
Yeah, it was at a it was at a fake. A Different World took place at a fake HBCU.
Oh, was that HBCU? Okay, I know they was in college, but I didn't know it was HBCU.
It was a fake one, but it was a Hillman.
I don't know.
I don't remember, but it was a fake HBCU. Yeah. So it tied in perfectly because this is an HBCU festival, and now they're talking about we got to get down to Freaknik in A Different World. So this is the equivalent of going viral. Yeah. You're being talked about in a Spike Lee movie, and you're being talked about on a hit show. So now your profile of the Freaknik is now hitting new heights. And now it's reaching people worldwide, all across the country. It's starting to become more and more nationalized, and not just the South.
Right, and then it's you're attracting music artists and promoters,
famous people.
Exactly.
Yes. So now it's starting to really grow in a real way outside of the college atmosphere that it was birthed in. So as Freaknik continued to steadily grow in size, and soon the local officials were in on it, they started to be concerned, and they wanted to try to calm things down a bit. So they started to try to add in things like a career fair and concession stands, and community basketball games, in an attempt to make things more family friendly.
Where are the freaks?
Yeah, listen.
I don't care about
somebody being like, the dean of Morehouse comes out and is like, ladies and gentlemen, at 3:30 there will be the charity basketball game. Somebody's like, man, where the freaks at?
Hit it with a tomato.
Yeah, it's like, shut up. Is it a freaksketball game? You're like, sir, that's not a thing. I'm a Morehouse man. There's no such thing as a freaksketball game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
you're like, it will be tonight at Magic City. Yeah, there's gonna be a freaksketball game tonight. Actually, as a matter of fact, we're having a freaksketball game at 3:30 as well on the other side of town at Piedmont Park. Just bring you and your ass, like that, and so they tried to. I think that a lot of like the professionals and the locals could see that it was starting to get a little raunchy, so they tried to go. We want kids to be able. We want parents to be able to, like, you know how, like, remember me and you? We used to take your grandmother to like the Caribbean Day parade. Yeah. I think they tried to make it like, listen, I know there's a thing happening, but we want families to be able to come out of their house and have their kids walk down the street and maybe get an ice cream or some kind of cultural stand, just like be a part of it.
Yeah, but I also think that people that had, that were in charge of like the city councilman or whatever, I think they, by this being in Atlanta, which is, it's the legacy of, the history of black people. I think it was okay. I think it was okay though. It was okay. Like, long as they're not tearing shit up, it's fine.
Let the kids be kids.
Right, because like at this time when this was happening, it was like there was no other place. I can't remember the quote I got. There was no other place in America where it was this big, huge gathering of black people having fun, having a ball.
Yes.
As long as, like I said, as long as they're not tearing shit up, I think it was fine.
Yeah. And we're definitely going to get into that more. So because I want to talk about that, because I want to continue to give this flowers. Yeah. And it's on its way up. Because on its way up and in its birth, it was a beautiful thing. Like you touched on just now. We're going to go further into that for sure, but I'm going to go ahead and get back to we're like around the start of the 90s right now. So in an attempt to continue to try to clean things up, school officials and AUC chair members and committee members even tried to change the name of the festival to names like the Sweet Auburn Festival and Black College Weekend, but their efforts were all in vain.
Yeah, like
this was Freaknik,
whack.
And nothing was changing about Freaknik.
I'm not traveling to East Coast,
for the Black College Weekend.
Black College.
I'm not even in college.
Right.
I'm 29 years old. I'm a garbage man. I'm here for the freaks. So I think that this is still, they were still idyllic at this point. It's the early 90s, and I don't think they could see that the genie was out of the bottle. Like there was no, like the DC Metro Club was no longer in charge of this, but it still kind of was, like in name. Like Freaknik was still the AUC HBCU festival, but like now more and more people that are coming there are like, I don't even know what the fuck Morehouse is.
No.
I'm here for Freaknik.
Yeah.
I'm not in college. I don't care. But it was the inception. It was the early stages of this. I don't think they can see the writing on the wall.
Right.
So they're still like, well, we're still Morehouse and Spelman and Clark. So we're still in charge of this. So we're going to try to change it to this. But then it didn't stick because the scales are starting to tip. Like most people that are coming to this don't go to your school.
Right. And it's not.
So
and you calling a festival that's not the right term to use for, because it wasn't set up.
It wasn't.
Like
it wasn't a festival.
Was it a festival?
It's like I've never been to like Myrtle Beach and Ocean City. These places, they have like a bike week, or car week and stuff like that. It's like that's not like they're just coming to Myrtle Beach. There's
it's
no
just
like
a gathering. Yeah.
Everybody come to this one place. Like no, we're just here. We all just took our bikes and we all came here, and we choose to not fuck it up or do fuck. It's up to us because I'm just here. I didn't. There's no tickets. No. I just came to Myrtle Beach. These people just came to Atlanta. A festival is like making an illusion that this had more control than it did. There's no walls, there's no place. No. They're not coming to Freaknik. Right. Freaknik is Atlanta. Atlanta is Freaknik.
It's not like this.
No,
this bordered area. Like no, it's not.
No,
Atlanta.
It's Atlanta. Yeah, there's no capacity. There's no like, oh, we sold all the tickets. Like no, it's Atlanta. You can't sell tickets to Atlanta. I can get it. Well, I can get a plane ticket. You gonna stop selling plane tickets to Atlanta? That's the only way you're gonna stop me from coming to Freaknik, because I'm here for the freaks. Yeah, I mean, these are very enthusiastic people, and we'll get into how that enthusiasm turns dangerous very easily, and I'd like to have a conversation about that, because we're making our jokes and everything about these hypothetical late 20s and early 30s dudes who are enthusiastic to see freaks, but that kind of energy can turn scary. Probably for a lot of people, is scary as soon as they land. I like to think that a lot of people are just, it's Freaknik. I want to have a good time, but a good time for you could be a scary time for somebody else. From rip, it's not like it just takes alcohol. Like you might be like, I'm just here to grab asses and whatever, and that's scary.
Yeah.
That's your baseline. That's not, I got there after I got a little too crazy. Like no, I came here off the plane with my camera, ready to grab asses, the first asses I see.
Absolutely.
That's a dangerous person.
Yeah.
That's not like, it got out of hand. Like no, I came here to do this.
Yeah.
I came here to assault women. But in the 90s, it's like, no, that's fun.
Yeah.
So I'm just being where are the freaks at? That person.
The name of the picnic is, it kind of gives off this idea where, especially for men, it's like, it's
men.
called.
The men are the problem
here.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
it's
called. It's like, that means we'll get into. I don't want to get too far, but we'll get.
Yeah, let's not jump the shark. Let's not jump the shark. But I can tell you got a lot to say, and I got a lot to say too, because this shit, we're just scratching the surface of this getting crazy, right? So like I said, the school still tried to show some control by trying to change the name and stuff. Nothing would stick. And by 1992, the humble picnic had turned into a full-on street party. Like without any inhibitions, boasting tens of thousands of attendees, overrunning almost every part of the city and crowding out residents and workers who made their living there. So it was like you couldn't function in this town. There was gridlock traffic. It was just overrun with tourism. And not until 1992 is when Freaknik really peaked and the legend of Freaknik was born.
Yeah.
Like people were really like, this is starting to become the place to be.
Yeah, like that 92, 94, I think that window where it was like it was like
it maxed out.
Yeah.
Up until that point, it was like, people come here and they go to the Waffle House and they stimulate the economy. There was still like positivity to be seen in it. But then 1992 is when it was the traffic was affected.
Hotels are booked.
Yeah, it just was like, this is starting to get out of hand. But people still saw the positivity. And if you're a hotel owner, you go, we're booked.
Right.
A little traffic, but we're booked. Money talks.
Coming in.
So 92, the sentiment was, hey man, this is good for the economy. I've never sold so many chicken and waffle plates in my life. There's a lot of young kids. They're hungry. They're drinking. They're coming with cash in hand, and they're stimulating the economy here. So you could overlook the negative stuff. So you bring all these people here, stuff gets messy, but you go, hey, all the hotels are booked. People are coming and stimulating the restaurants, and we can still see the positive in it. And that was 1992. Still, they're still seeing like, this is great though. As popularity continued to grow, so did the revenue stream. By 1994, the festival was adding as much as $20 million to the city's economy.
Damn.
But you got to think about it. The way Freaknik was set up, it made it sort of a wild, wild west gold mine type of situation because it was a festival without borders. So me, if I'm a party promoter and I can get a club and call this the Freaknik Pajama Jammy Jam and charge $20 a ticket at the door, I'm making money. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily go to Morehouse or AUC. It's now I'm coming in and I'm trying to tap the faucet. If I come down there and I got Freaknik t-shirts and everybody buys my Freaknik t-shirts, I'm from Kentucky. Yeah.
And that's what
I printed up some shirts and I came down to make some money.
And that's why, and like when these big names started to hear about this picnic, like the producers, and they started like, well, let's do shows, and now everybody's like, oh, this is money. This is where everybody is. This is where the money is at. Mm-hmm. It ain't just about the freaks anymore. It's like,
no,
this is where the freaks, but the money is
freaks.
Here.
Hey man, freaks have money too. Right. And if they don't, it's a bunch of dudes behind them that's willing to pay to go wherever the freak is. So what does this? This isn't birth it, but what does this also come with? Ladies getting free before 8,
man.
And fellas, it's $50 for y'all to come in after 8 o'clock.
Ain't that crazy?
So now you get all the girls in.
I didn't think about that.
You get all the girls in, and the dudes are gonna go wherever the girls are.
Exactly. Well.
And they'll pay top dollar. But what happens when you leave college students to their own devices and combine parties, drinking, word of mouth hype, a local government turning a blind eye, and unfettered desire to freak? Trouble, of course. And that's what we're going to get into in part 2.